Hey guys, welcome back to The Outlet Talk. I'm your host, Kayla, and today I have a special guest with me today.
Emmanuel.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Emmanuel.
Yes, well, thank you for having me. So, yes, I am originally from New Jersey. I've been in Miami South Florida for 8 years.
Nice.
I've been married for almost 6 years. Well, going into my 6th, 7th year. I met my wife through Instagram. That's another story for another day. We have a 1.5-year-old son named Caleb. Aww. And then we have a daughter that was just born on the 22nd of May, and her name is Naima.
Yes.
And I work with youth, middle school youth for a nonprofit, middle school and high school youth all over South Florida. We talk about healthy relationships, and we do talk about finances too, and just making healthy decisions. And, and I love basketball. I'm a Laker fan. Sorry, Miami Heat. Y'all ain't it.
Facts. They really aren't.
When it comes to baseball, I'm a Red Sox fan. Sorry, Yankees. I can't do you either. But I love reading. I love, reading the Word of God. Certain topics that I love talking about is theology. Yeah. I love talking about the topic of human trafficking, going against it, of course. Yes, of course. I love talking about finances, and just relationship, parenthood, and all that kind of stuff. So all those,
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. So that we can, get to know you a little bit more. What is your favorite thing about having children?
My favorite thing is more than one thing. I'm going to tell you a current one. Okay. Especially now that I'm not working because I am on paternity leave, and unfortunately I go back next Friday. Aww. But one of my favorite things that I'm enjoying so much now is that because I have a newborn, my wife is the one tending to her more. Mm-hmm. So when I wake up, my son wakes up, so I have to get him. So it's just me and him in the morning, just chilling. And he's, he can't talk yet like that, but he has his baby talks, and he just sits on me and just, plays with me. And I'm like, man, I'm going to miss that. And I don't know if he's going to be sad once I go back to work, So that's one of my favorite things that I'm enjoying so much right now, and just taking it all in, because I'm not going to have that again once I go back to work. You're
going to blink and he's literally going to be in high school.
Girl, I don't even want to talk about teenage years. I'm not ready for that. I work with teenagers. I see a lot. I don't want to go there yet.
Literally, it's going to it's going to come by so fast. Like, even me just thinking of so many things that has happened in my life, I'm like, man, I'm about to be 23. I'm like, what the heck? Time flies so fast. Yes. And I find myself looking at my album every year. I'm just like, man, I remember these days. I remember. So I think your son is literally going to treasure those moments, because not a lot of kids are able to have that one-on-one time with their parents. Of course. And I think that's
he's
wonderful.
A handsome little boy. Listen, yes. Like my wife says, I'm making sure he stays away from the Miami girls.
Yes, yes, please, because they're called Miami Dams.
Or them city girls.
Exactly.
No city girls for my son. We don't need that in our lives. We need holy girls. Yes, girls for the Lord. Well, one girl. For the Lord, not girls.
One girl.
Someone that can be just, straight out for the Lord. No
that
city
is so
girl
funny. That's funny. I don't have any children yet, but my favorite thing about being a teacher and working with kids is just how much influence I have on them. The littlest things that I say, they repeat it. And I find it so funny because they repeat it with themselves. And I'm just that is so cute. For instance, I was telling my students, if they continue to have or burst out in anger so much, they don't control their anger at a young age. When you turn 18 and you burst out in anger like that, you're going to end up in jail. You're going to be in jail. And then I told them, I was like, the orange suit ain't cute.
Oh, my goodness.
and one of my students, there was another student who was getting mad. And she was like, remember, the orange suit ain't cute. I was like, exactly. Oh, wow. So I literally find those moments so funny. I was dying laughing at my seat because I was like, they remember those things. Of course. And it kind of rhymed a little bit too. So I was like, yeah, it's not cute, guys. Please, make sure you're making good choices.
At that age, they absorb everything quick.
They do. Mm-hmm. So it's been a blessing. So I know that I'm excited for parenthood, but I'm also I can wait, because I know that it is a handful. It is a handful.
It is, trust me, especially for the mom more than the guys.
Yes, that's so true. Until they reach a certain age where they don't need the mom as much, and then it's it's an equal kind of share.
Exactly. Yep.
All right, so let's start by defining mental health. What is your definition of mental health? What does that look like for you? what have you done to navigate through mental health?
For me, when it comes to mental health, it's a holistic thing.
Okay.
Now, I'm not perfect at it because in one area I suck at, which is healthy eating. Mm-hmm. But holistically, emotionally, intellectually, physically, spiritually, all those areas is where you can have a balance, a healthy balance when it comes to your mental health. Because if you're just sad all the time, depressed, that's for many people that can affect your physical. Yeah. Whether you eat too much and you gain so much weight, or you just don't eat at all and then you become anorexic, right? So all those little areas can affect you. That can affect your prayer life as well. Yep. You can be lazy all the time and you're just sad or depressed and you don't want to pray, you don't want to do anything. So all those areas, is how I look at it with mental health, is holistically, not just one aspect of your life. I
like that definition because a lot of people think it's just, mentally what I'm struggling with my emotions and forget the aspect where it's your entire, everything, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, and just like you said, it's holistic. It's who you are, your whole well-being. And I think that's a really good way to point it out, because sometimes we pay attention to more one thing than the other and neglecting the other thing, and then forgetting that literally, yes, your emotions are important, your physical aspect is important, and then what's even more important is your spiritual life. That's important because we are spiritual beings, and if you are a believer, that is something that you want to continue to grow, because if you're not moving closer to God, you're moving further away. So I like to use the analogy, if you're standing in a river, like a river that's moving, if you're just standing in it, you're going to be brought back. You're not going to be moving forward unless you are moving forward. So life is the river, you know, and if you're just standing still, it's going to bring you back. So I really do like that definition. I think if there's anything, remember that it's your whole entire well-being.
Yeah, and it's not easy because we have so much going on in our lives to really have a balance of every aspect, right? Because there's some people that are just great at eating healthy, going to the gym, working out, but they suck at this area or they suck at that area. They need to work on that, and it's just so hard with so many things, COVID happened, inflation, stress, financial stress. It's a whole lot to deal with, so you're right.
So you brought up financial stress. So how do you think mental health and finances are connected?
Oh, girl. It is very connected, very connected. Let's just talk about student loans for a second. Student loans is the second highest debt in America after mortgage. Yeah. And right now it's about $1.7 trillion in America. And in my opinion, I think student loans is a scam. Not the going to school is, but the way they handle it, all that stuff. But it's a lot. There's a lot of people that are stressing because they have so much student loans. They feel like they can never pay that back. You can go to school for something and you get a degree and you have an $80,000 loan. But by the time you pay that off, you wind up paying $100,000 because of interest. Oh, wow. You know what I'm saying? There are people who are literally depressed. There are literally people who are suicidal. Just look at the COVID and what happened to everybody in this world and this country. Inflation, when gas went up, people losing their jobs, people, they can't do this, they can't do that, or they limited. It affects your mental state, especially if you have families, if you have kids, especially if you're the provider of the household. That's going to affect you big time. And I know it has affected me in different areas growing up until now. So, yeah, it does play a big effect on a lot of people.
I know for me, even just the gas prices going up, that sent me in a complete frenzy because I was I used to drive all the way to Pompano Beach to go to work, and it would take maybe $40 to fill my fill my tank. So when the prices went up, I'm like, I'm gonna have to pay almost $60, and I have a Toyota Corolla. Wow. It makes no sense. That's what blew my mind because I'm like, I don't have a fancy car. Yeah. I don't have a race car. I don't have a BMW. It's your basic car, a Toyota Corolla. This is supposed to be economic friendly. Yeah. And I'm almost pushing $60 in gas because of inflation. Yeah. That almost blew my mind because it's I was trying to get a job that was paying me more, but I ended up paying I ended up not even seeing the fruit of my labor because I'm spending it in gas.
Because everything went higher now.
Exactly.
You got eggs going up. You got, all these different things. I'm like, what? I'm paying this much for eggs now?
Literally, yes. Simple things. Simple things.
I'm about to go homesteading and just have my own farm, bro. Let me milk my own cow and stuff, bro.
Cheaper to buy a car, buy a cow, buy your own, chickens, have them roam your yard or something if you have it, the ability, because at that point it just gets too much. So I completely can see how the financial stress can cause someone to fall into a depression, and you could fall into maybe even a manic episode because you're just like stressed so much. And I can only imagine, like, as a head of a household, right, if we're going back to tradition and what God has called the house to look like for a man, and because growing up, the men, they don't really pay attention to the man's emotions. So they're already going through life not dealing with their emotions. Then they hit fatherhood, or even just husband, and then fatherhood, and all these extra stresses, don't have an outlet to express those stresses. And then not add on financial stress.
That's a lot. And not to say that there's a big percentage of divorce in America due to money issues, whether infidelity, whether it's lack of money, too much money, hiding, all these kind of different things. Like, bro, like I was listening to a podcast one day, and this woman, I think it was, this woman behind her husband's back purchased 5 freaking horses on a credit card. Like, okay, cool. If you want to buy horses, cool. But then behind your husband's back, and then 5. Not only that, one of the horses, she had to like give it back or something and lose money because he got sick. Like, that's crazy. And you got in debt for all of those horses, and one of them was pretty much dying.
My thing is, he didn't even buy just one horse. He bought 5. He's like, what were you trying to do with the horses?
And getting debt for it, and without your husband knowing? Nah,
oh,
bro.
man.
Stuff like that brings more problems, more mental stress. It's just too much going on.
So how important, I'm going to add this one, how important is it to have a woman who is also financially intelligent in a marriage?
That's a good question. So this is the thing, though. Not everybody is different, right? Like, for example, in my household, I'm the money guy. I'm the one that studies it. I'm the one that budgets. I'm the one that does these. My wife, that's not her area, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But that does not mean that we don't team up together to talk about a budget, to talk about this and what are we spending, blah blah blah. No, it's not like she's left out of the picture.
Okay.
But she don't really like engage in that because that's not her area. Especially now that she's a mom, she's just focusing on that.
On the kids.
My best friend and his wife, she's the accountant, and she was an accountant before, but she handles all the money. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't.
Yeah.
That's not his area.
Yeah.
But that's not to say that both the couple should not be involved anyways. They should be aware of what's going on in the house because you're one.
Yeah.
You're doing things together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But for those women or the married, moms or wives, if they have that gift and knowing how to manage money and this and that, or they can learn, listen, take advantage because that will help out the households for the future, especially when the kids are in the world as well.
That's true.
So, yeah.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Of course.
That gives me, insight so that I can make sure I'm tapping in and being wise, which I think I'm pretty wise with my money. I have like
I'm going to put you to a test. No, I'm just kidding.
He's like, really? I'm going to quiz you.
I'm going to look at your bank account like, you're spending too much money on this area. On that. That's why you feel like you're paying too much money on gas. If you didn't spend too much money on this, that gas money wouldn't hurt, right?
Liz, I already know it's going to say Amazon because when I tell you I have packages come into my house on a weekly basis. I am a sucker. Like, good advertisement gets me really good. Like, if you can convince me that I need it, I'm buying it. Wow. And that's my problem. And I know that's my problem. And that's why I stay off of Amazon. Like, sometimes I have to just like remind myself, even when I have the fingers to just go type Amazon, I'm just like, no, because I know if I go on Amazon, I'm going to find something and I'm going to literally
I'm kind of the same way. I like buying little things, and my wife always points that out. I'm not perfect, but I have that habit of buying little things here and there, and literally packages coming to my
It's like on our week, it's like, Kayla, all right, they already know these packages for me. And it's just like random things, literally, or just books.
Yeah,
I just buy books.
Do you ever feel something called a buyer's remorse
after I bought it? Yes. I literally pack it back up. I put it in the car and I tell Dion I was sending it back after I purchased it. Yeah, but I actually send it back.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I hate that feeling. It's the worst feeling ever. Like, bro, did I just spend $300 on this?
Literally, I'm like, no, this can't be real. And I literally put it back in my car. I'm like, no, like what made me think that this was okay? And like, or I buy something when I think I need it, but it's only like temporary. So like, for example, like our AC was giving us issues. And so I'm like, no, I need to buy a small fan to be prepared, this and that. Like, no, because if this happens again, like I need to be ready. So I go on Amazon, I buy the fan. I'm thinking the fan's going to be like this big fan. That's what I get for going on Amazon. The fan gets here. The fan is like this big.
Oh, what? I ain't doing nothing, bro.
When I tell you I was so mad, I was like, this is why you cannot buy on impulse. You literally have to sit and think things through. Because I literally just bought it, smallest fan. I packed that thing right back up. I was like, we're sending this back. Like, and it was good advertisement. They're like, put ice in it and it's going to be cold, like cool air. That air was not cool. I was like, yeah, they got me good. Whatever picture they put on there, they got me good. So now I'm trying to be more mindful because I can be in that habit to just impulsively buy. I'm like, okay, I have a problem. I need it to fix. I need to fix it now. So let me just buy something that could fix it rather than just sticking through it and finding other solutions or either just using the resources that I have. Because sometimes I'm like, no, what I have clearly is not enough because I wouldn't be facing this issue. I wouldn't be hot right now if I had a fan, but.
Right. And I don't know if you ever question yourself, like, why do I do this? Yeah. And we could probably talk about this as we go along, but there's root causes or root issues of why people have these different money habits. But yeah, we'll talk about that. We're going to get there.
All right. So can you share your personal journey with mental health and finances?
Man, it's been rough. It was rough, but I come a long way. Unfortunately, me as a Dominican, my parents came from the Dominican Republic, but I was born and raised in New Jersey. But my parents never taught me about finances. I had no financial education, but my parents were great with money, which is the crazy part. They were hard workers. They're immigrants, and my parents did not have any high school education. My father worked in a factory all his life here, which is what we believe that killed him, that gave him the disease at 70 years old. My mom worked in a hospital, and he didn't know any English. Oh, wow. My mom worked in a hospital for 40 plus years with very little English as a housekeeping job. And, we lived life. You know what I'm saying? We were able to travel because of them. We lived in a house. But they never taught us about credit cards, credit. They never taught us anything. So I grew up just spending so much money, right? I didn't have any idea of what do you mean by saving. Budgeting, I don't even think I ever heard of that word until like my 20s. You know what I'm saying? I never owned a credit card, until my 20s. So growing up, I kept spending so much money, but I always felt like I never had money because I always felt like I can't save money. If I want to go on vacation, I don't have money. But if I would have saved in advance, then I can have it. But it will always mess me up because I can't do anything. Yeah. I always felt bad when people have this, they have the nice stuff, but I'm over here struggling. But it's because I keep spending it on food and spending it on this and that. Yeah. And it messed me up. So in my 20s, that's when I was introduced to many people, what they call Dave Ramsey. I don't know if you know who he is, but you can look him up. But he's not the only person I listen to. But I started listening to him, and that's when I really started educating myself about finances in like 25 years old around there. And then my father passed away at 25, and then everything just went downhill again. Yeah. And then it wasn't until I moved to Miami in 2017, I started getting more serious, but it was rough. Yeah. Because I moved my whole life to be closer to my girlfriend who's now my wife, right? I moved with only like I moved with enough money to survive for a few months, roommate with somebody else. I had a job, only a part-time job, but then I had to leave the house because they were moving back to Alabama. Oh, wow. So I was stressed out. And I'm like, God, I'm not going back to Jersey. and mind you, the main reason why I moved wasn't even because of Kiana. The reason why I moved is because I wanted to be away from my mom, right? But God had other plans that he knew. I married her, right? But the whole thing is that I moved here. I was struggling. Eventually, I moved in with her and her parents because that's another story. And for a few months until I got situated with 2 jobs. And then while working 2 jobs, I was doing Uber Eats on my bicycle.
Oh, wow.
Right? I didn't have a car. So I used to live in North Miami by Barry University. Go bike riding all the way to Alapata and like 35th Street and 19th Avenue every day besides rainy days to go to work and back, and bike riding. And then when I come home, Uber Eats for like 4 hours. And I remember getting laid off. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to pay rent. I was doing Uber Eats for 6 to 7 hours every day.
Oh, wow.
Until I got another job.
Yeah.
So all that stuff was, messing me up. It felt like I started from the beginning when I first moved here.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to marry my wife, and there was a lot going on. We had debt. Well, I had my own debt. She had her own. And then when we got married in 2018, our combined debt was like $67,000. But
oh my gosh.
We started off our marriage creating a budget and attacking it. And that's when I started doing my side hustle, my Uber, not Uber Eats, but Uber, driving around. And we paid off over $45,000 in 3 years.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? Good. Like 2 cars that we got in 2019, total of $30,000 between the 2. We paid off those 2 cars in a matter of 2 years and 5 months. The average person that pays off one car is 6 to 7 years. We paid 2 cars in 2.5 years. And yes, some people be like, oh yeah, but you probably got raises at work. Yeah, I did. Yeah. But you probably got your stimulus checks. I did. But you probably home because of COVID. I did. But at the end of the day, we still weren't banking out our money. Exactly. It was all about behavior. And I tell people, if you want to win with money, it's 20% head knowledge and 80% behavior. Because you could make $100,000 a year and you still broke. Yeah. Why? Because you're living above your means. You're paying more, you're spending more than what you make. Yeah. And that's the problem. You know what I'm saying? So all of those things, it did affect me, because as a husband or upcoming husband, I'm like, man, I want to be able to provide, I don't want to, lack. And then if we don't have kids, like, God, you have to come through. Yeah. I don't know what I'm going to do. And eventually, over the years, been here for 8 years, he's been doing his thing. I got raises at work. I got a better job. All these stuff. My wife got better job. Like, it helped out so much. But there's sometimes, not as much as before, but there's sometimes that I get some anxiety when I'm low on cash or this and that. And because it reminds me of before when I used to have 0 negative balance, and I start to act a certain way. And I'm like, no, I have to trust God because finances was one of the things that I never really gave it to God. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm better now, but I'm still in the process of learning, giving it completely to God, trust him all the way. And it really messed me up in some ways financially and mentally and all that kind of stuff.
Amen. I like that you added trusting God is also part of the equation because we as human beings, we want to be in the driver's seat because we're you start to panic when you see you're low. You're like, okay, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to get another job or I'm going to do this. I'm going to add a little hustling. And it's no, we have to give it to God. He will provide. He will provide a way. And it's even in my own life, I've realized that I panic. And mind you, I don't even have crazy bills. I still live at home, but it just gives me anxiety because I'm what the heck? I've always had the mentality I want to at least come into a relationship or into a marriage with something. Yeah. I don't want to come with nothing. By the grace of God, I don't have any student loans. Thank God. And even that was a miracle. I feel by me trusting, because at the end of when I was finishing college, that's when my financial aid was giving me issues. And thank God at that time, that's when they were giving stimulus. It was right around COVID, so they're giving stimulus check. I got one stimulus check. Thank you, Trump. I was listen, I needed that stimulus check. It went straight to school so that I did not have to have that. I refused to take a loan because I was no, I'm going to be paying this for the rest of my life. That is one thing that I did know about student loans. It's you could take out $6,000, but it will multiply because of the interest. And I was no, I only want to pay the $6,000. Exactly. I don't want to pay more.
Yeah, and that's how it works. And it's listen, I tell people, because I would share my stories, right, on Instagram of my debt-free journey. Yeah. And then when COVID hit, I was home, I was bored, and then all of a sudden, let me start a YouTube channel. Yeah. I had no clue, and I just started, and all of a sudden, I started realizing people, because I wanted to be that person where I didn't want to be that person where I share my stories, but that's the only thing people see, the success.
Yeah.
I want people to know, like, listen, I wake up at, and I still do. Well, right now I'm not because I have the kids. But I wake up at Monday through Friday, Monday, Thursday at 2:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
To go do Uber.
Oh, wow.
And then depending on what time I have to be out of school or work, I finish and then I go to work from whatever time I get out, and then come home to be with my wife and my son at that time. Right? Like, it's not easy.
Yeah.
Working to pay off my debt or our debt, it's not just a journey. It's a spiritual journey for me. It's an emotional journey. Yeah. Intellectual. It's all holistically, right? It's not just, I'm working, let me just put them. No, it takes a toll, especially emotional, because I never want to be in that much debt again in my life. Yeah. Because when you have all that debt, you don't have opportunities.
You do not. Yeah.
Because imagine when you have zero debt, you could have so much. You have so much opportunities that you can think of. Maybe you're not a millionaire. That's okay, but at least you can probably travel more.
Yeah, exactly.
At least you can save more because you ain't got to pay debt. You know what I'm saying? So all those things matter when it comes to mental health and finances.
Yeah, I think like even like you said, like because you're not like you don't have debt, you can now allocate that money in a different areas, things that you may enjoy, hobbies. Maybe you can, go out once a month with your wife and enjoy something nice rather than like, well, no, we can't. Like, have to penny pinch because you have debt.
Exactly.
Like that's a scary thing for me because it's like, I really don't want that on my shoulders. Like the only debt that I really have is my car, and I'm really trying to pay it off. And I'm feeling inspired because you're like, you paid it off for 2.5 years. I'm like, okay, so I could pay off my car in 2.5 years too, because the loan is like 6 years. And I'm like, I'm just looking at how much I'm paying more than what I actually asked the bank for.
Let me mention something that I know you have other stuff that you want to jump into, but I really want to talk about that because. I always tell people the best way is, and you can disagree, is buy a car in cash. Of course, we're having savings as well.
Yes.
But not everybody has all that money in cash. But I believe that if people were better off financially and know how to money well, they can save a good amount of money. And the problem is that everybody wants to buy a 2024 car. Yeah. A car of the year. Well, of course, you're always going to be in debt of car because you're trying to buy the best car. Yeah. And little quick story. I remember I was making my monthly payment for that car. One of the cars was $253 a month. Finally, because the way I pay my debt is from smallest to largest. Okay. So when that became my smallest debt to pay, I started paying extra, like a lot extra. Okay. And then when I got the bill, these companies are slick. You know what they would do? Because they saw that I made a bigger payment to lower my car, they gave me the bill. Oh, your next payment will be $56. Now, here is the mindset. For most people, they will be like, wow, that is great. Yeah. $56, that's awesome. But that's how they get you. Yes. Because I did the math. If I calculated, and I had $12,000 left on my car, by the way. I divided that by the 56, it would have taken me like 14 years to pay off that car. Plus whatever interest. So I was exactly 14 years is crazy, and you're paying more for what the car is worth because the car goes down in value and not only that, I made a YouTube video and it's still in my YouTube channel, and it's talking about I'm gonna pay off my $12,000 car in 4 months. I was dedicated, and 4 months, December came, boom, I put down $3,000 in every month until I paid that off, and I paid it off. Like that was a huge win for me. Like it made that mental health, like that stress just went all the way down. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness. It's a big deal when it comes to cars, but a lot of people, they get tricked. I'm going to finance this car, and okay, if you want to finance it, cool, but don't stick to minimum payments. Yeah, exactly. Because then you're going to be paying more on interest and then pay more for what the car is worth. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It feels different when you own the car. Yeah, it does. Because you don't own the car when you finance it. Yes, it's yours because you're driving it. Yeah, but once you don't make payments on it, they're going to take that away from you. Because really, all you have to make payments is on insurance when you finally own the car. And that's it. Like, I don't make car payments. I don't. because it doesn't exist anymore.
Exactly.
And I don't want to do that anymore.
Exactly. I'm going to ride this car till the wheels fall off. Yeah.
You know, so it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
That makes sense because even me just looking at the balance, I've been making payments for the entire year, and I feel like it only went down by like $1,000. I was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, no, I've been making my payments every single month for the past year. It's literally the interest. Yeah,
you'll pay this amount, but in reality, you're not paying nothing because the interest just adds up.
Exactly. This is literally why I agree with the statement of buying the car cash. How I even ended up buying my car, I didn't want to buy a new car, but because I'm a nice sister, I was like, you know what? I'll let my brother have my car and I'll get a new car. But I didn't want to because I was like, I know as soon as I buy this car, the value of that car depreciates as soon as it leaves the lot.
Yeah, in 1 year, 20%.
Like it goes down.
And then for a new car.
Exactly. And then if I try to turn it in, they're going to tell me, oh, they're going to like knock off like 50% of the value of the car. Like that's a slap in the face because it's like.
And then they're going to want you to trade in for a newer car and they're going to be paying more.
Exactly. They're like literally Toyota, they think they're slick too. They sent me an email on the year anniversary of me getting my car. Hey, happy year anniversary of you owning your car. Would you like to come in to see some new cars? I'm like, that's how they get people.
Yeah, and that's how they make the money off of interest. That's why they don't like it when you pay up a car in cash.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to do that one day. I'm going to go in. I'm going to act like I'm trying to finance a car. And I'm like, yeah, how much that car worth?
Yeah.
And when all that car is $20,000, I'm like, are you able to bring it down to like $17,000? I'm like, oh, no. You sure? I'm like, okay, no, never mind. I'm going to go find another car somewhere else. And they might call you back.
Yep.
And then if they were to negotiate and give you that car for $18, okay, cool. And he was like, okay, let me talk to my manager. Let me get the paperwork. And, you know, like, oh, you don't need no paperwork.
Yeah,
I'm going to pay a check.
Yeah.
And he's probably going to look at me like,
shocked.
Bastard, right?
Literally, we was trying to get him with the finance. Yeah, because they call the bank for you. They have like this whole system. They set it up like they're doing something good for you. And I'm like, no, you're setting me up for failure. You're setting me up for failure. And I don't think and I think it's important, like you said, for people to educate themselves on that, because you will be in a cycle of just owing money and never have something of your own. Like you said, you miss 1 or 2 payments. They're coming to pick up the car. They do not care that this is your only car, that you have to work to be the next one. They're going to come and they're going to pick it up. The same thing with your house.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And most of the time when you're in the car dealership, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, let me go speak to my manager. Bull crap. They didn't go to no manager. They went to the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
This and that. And then they come up with you with a whole plan. I'm like, they did not go talk to no manager to help you out. Man.
It's a scam. Literally. Like, I feel like living in this country, you have to literally just be so smart. You have to know how to play chess, not checkers, to live in this country.
If you're a girl and you don't know much about cars and you're going by yourself to the dealership, don't do it.
Yep.
Go with somebody that you know.
That too. That's why I went with my whole entire family, because I was like, I'm not about to be played. Because they tried to play me and my mom one time when we went. Boy. And they're like, no, the car is great. The car is great. We're like, can we see the Carfax? And he was like, no, the car is great. And we're just like, you know what? We're going to look at the car online because they attached the Carfax. We looked through the Carfax. We're like, no, this car done been in 3 accidents, had a body Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. We're going to go ahead and sign out. Like, just be honest. You would not have treated us that way if there was a male figure with us. Even when I go get service in my car, they're like, yeah, you have a trans something issue. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, hold on, let me call my dad. I call my dad. He's like, girl, if you don't get out,
he's gonna take all your money, bro.
And I'm like, I'm fine. My dad said it's fine. And they're like, yeah, but I'm like, it's okay. Just give me the paperwork. Give me the paperwork. Show me, and I'll be okay.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, that's actually insane. So what are some challenges that you have faced when navigating financial stress, and how have you overcome them?
I know a few of the challenges within my marriage is, and because, you know, as a husband, as a godly man who want to lead my wife, you know, because financial was a part that I didn't fully give it to God. And whenever I was stressed, and because we got to pay bills or this and that, like I would act a certain way, and then that would make her stress. And that's not good for both of us. You know what I'm saying? And instead of me praying to God or trying to allocate, you know, spending less on this or whatever, I would just like, I would just go off on like a silent tantrum, not making up, but like creating stories does not really exist or not really gonna be there. You You know what I'm saying? Because you're stressing and you get nervous and you start making like excuses, this and that. I used to do that. Sometimes I still do it. Not as much, but I used to do it a lot, and that would put a stress on her. I mean, last year was rough, and I made a mistake because last year I had like a couple of $1,000 left, like $10,000 left to pay off a debt, like all of my debt. And when my wife was pregnant, my financial coach at that time told me, pause your debt payoff. Like pay minimum, but don't pay too much.
Yeah.
But because I was so adamant
about paying it off,
and I was getting so close, I decided to, because he told me to save money now.
Yeah.
I didn't save. And that bit me in the butt.
Yeah.
Because my car started having issues. I was on paternity leave. I got paid, but then I didn't get paid for certain weeks because I took certain weeks extra off. I couldn't pay for rent. I was late like 3 months. But God always comes in time. Like we had applied to some housing help, something with renters help. I don't know what it's called. And we forgot about it. 5 months later, God just blessed us like with the whole like 6 months of rent. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a huge relief. You know, so but I can tell you that it did affect me and it affected her, especially that she just gave birth. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And trying to tend to a child and then she's stressing, you know, but God always comes in time. Like it may not be it's never in our timing. Yeah. And it's never late. You may think he came late.
But it's right on time.
Like that's the best thing. Yeah, it's like the worst and the best feeling. It's like you're going through something in life, just not even finances, just in general. And it's like you're in that tipping point, that last moment. I'm like, if nothing happens, then that's it, you're screwed. And that's the worst feeling ever. But then when God comes at that very last second and saves you, you're like, it is like you're on top of the mountain. Literally. It's like huge relief, you know. And that's how it's been with us for the past few years, with me especially, because I'm like I said, I'm the type of person that I would have anxiety because of finances or lack of finances, and no. But now it's a lot better, you know. My wife and I, we talk about it more. We budget. I budget every month. We share what's in our budget because it's a team effort. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? We have a future. We have dreams. We know we want to do certain things in our future for our kids. So it's not like I go my way, you go your way. I'm just gonna spend whatever I want. No, it doesn't work like that. You know, and it's not about control either. It's just about being in unison with each other. Exactly. You know, so yeah.
So communication is like top for a relationship with finance.
Oh my gosh.
Like, do you find it uncomfortable, or is by this point in your marriage, you guys kind of have like a flow? I don't find it uncomfortable,
you know. There are times that I kind of like, because I still have a habit of spending money out on food and or little Amazon packages, and she has to hold me accountable, and she kind of like, you know, has to tell me some stuff, you know, and she has to hold me accountable, you know, because I can't get caught off and just buy those little things. But at the end of the day, it's like communication is key. We have to communicate. Yeah. Because if I go down, how are we going to pay rent? Yeah. You know, if she goes down, like there's a lot, you know what I'm saying? Living in Miami. Yeah. Living in Miami is tough, bro. I mean, I've been here 8 years. I've seen the difference of rent change compared from when I first moved in to now. Oh my goodness. I'm like, I'm ready to leave. Yeah. I don't want to be in Florida no more.
I do not either. I'm like, put me on the first plane ticket out of here. Like I already have like my own. Yeah, I'm like America in general, because I'm like, first they get us with the food. All these things they're putting in the food literally just makes my stomach hurt, because I'm like, we can't even do. You can't, if it's not financial stress, it's physical stress, because they're pumping our foods with all kinds of stuff. And like, I went to the store like maybe 2 months ago, and I was trying to buy some strawberries. And I saw a strawberry that was the size of an apple.
What? Talk about putting steroids in there.
Literally, I was like, no. I was like, there's no. I was so like passionate about that in that moment I had to make a video because I was like, guys, this is what they're putting in our food. Look at this strawberry. And then I was like, and I've been to a place where I saw organic strawberries grown and they're so small.
Yeah.
So if you have a big,
they're supposed to be so big.
They're not.
Pineapples, bananas,
none of
all
them
those
are
things.
supposed to be big. We literally have been.
Have you seen the lemons from Costco? Bro, them things are huge. I'm like, this is not normal.
This looks like a grapefruit. Yes. And I'm like, this is how they're getting us. They're getting us with debt and then they're trying to kill us. Like, please, let's
and
be more.
And they're raising the prices on those things.
Yes, on those things. You pump them up with steroids and you're charging us an arm and a leg for it. We didn't ask for the extra steroids. Just plant them regular.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I completely
But yeah,
understand.
back to your point. Communication is key. In general, communication is key with anybody in life. Whether your job, your parents, whatever, but especially when you're in a relationship, marriage, man, and finances is a huge deal. And I tell people, listen, you don't need to be no financial guru. You don't need to be no financial. I'm not a financial expert, but here's one thing, that as long as you're living in this life, you're not going to escape money. Yeah. So might as well learn and take some basic financial literacy course. Yeah. So you can know something. Because if not, you're just going to be like everybody else, just spending, getting in debt, credit card debt, all this, and then you're just stuck in a hole. Yep. Like you're digging the very hole that you put yourself into. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
It's like you're digging the hole for your own grave. Exactly. Literally, because you're going to feel stressed when you're in there. Yep. Man, thank you. I appreciate that knowledge because being young and being also from the Caribbean, like my family's Haitian, I didn't really see my family or my parents talk about finances together. They never had like that open discussion with us. Like, okay, so here is how, we're budgeting. We would just go to the store, and if we asked my mom to get us something, she's like, no, we don't like, no, it's a no. Or sometimes she'd be like, there's no money for that. And we're just like, what do you mean? Like, you can buy these. So obviously there has to be, but no one really sat us down and was like, look, like we are penny pinching. So we need to discuss this as a family. I think that would have helped us as children to not be so ungrateful either, because being in the dark, it's like, oh, well, they just don't want to get me that because they hate me. They don't like, they don't like me. Like in a child's mind, that's what it could seem like. But in reality, it was just like, no, like we literally have to watch what we spend. We can get the bare necessities. So I think it's like communication with your significant other, and then communication if your children are of age to understand. And not just telling them no, because in their mind, they're going to interpret it as like, oh yeah, my parents don't care. They just, they're always telling me no. And after hearing no so many times, they'll stop asking, even for things that they need, is what I noticed. Is like, even for the things that I needed, I didn't go to my parents about. I was like, I'm going to figure it out. If I got to sell something at church, like make bracelets or something and start selling it, I will do just that. It literally put me in that position. And so now that I'm like, older and I have my own job, and I'm like, okay, how can I navigate this so that I don't end up in that same place, because it didn't feel nice, you know, and I don't want my kids to feel that way. So I feel like, it's important to start now while I'm young.
Of course. I have this neighbor who's in early 20s. He's Haitian. His father, they own a food truck business and off by where I live, and amazing ribs. And he also has a body shop, like right in the little gasoline station. And he was telling me and his father works 7 days a week until like 2 a.m.
Oh wow!
And he's with his father too. So in my mind, I'm like, does he go to school? Is it this and that? But he tells me that his father pays him every day, and that he's been saving money for 10 years. He's not going with the trend of everybody else.
Oh wow!
Now I don't know how much financial literacy the father teaches him, but he's been saving for 10 years with the money that his father pays him every day. Like I see him every day going from like the second floor, third floor, up and down, carrying a whole thing of meat and this. Like he's doing his thing. Yeah, exactly. Like he's setting himself up good for the future, financially speaking. You know what I'm saying? We need more examples in that.
Yeah, definitely. It's hard.
It is hard.
It's hard because also too, I feel like society doesn't do a great job of teaching us how to save, because what's being forced in our face is get that Louis bag, you deserve it. Like get the
FOMO.
Yeah.
Fear of missing out. They see everybody else having it. They see their friends, social media, their favorite celebrities, so they gotta get it. And this is what I love to say, and I know Dave Ramsey says this, but too many people are buying things with money with stuff that they can't afford,
yeah.
cannot afford, to try to impress broke people.
Yeah.
Like they're broke themselves. They can't even afford it, and they get themselves in debt. And whatever they're wearing, they're impressing other broke people.
Yeah. So you guys are all broke together, but you're wearing a Louis, Louis bag. You got Prada on, and
exactly. But nobody knows you're in debt. Everybody thinks you're balling. I'm like, you ain't balling.
Exactly. And sometimes people they don't even have a bed. They're sleeping on like the floor, and they're with the Louis bag. I'm like, oh, where are your priorities? Like, man, and I hate that we've come to that, like so materialistic and not valuing our inner selves, like like we said before, like focusing on the whole well-being, not just what we can have and being flashy. That means nothing. It literally means nothing. And like everyone growing up would always remind me that like when you die, you leave all of this on this earth. So what does Louis mean to you? And these things, they rot, they dry rot. So if you don't use them, they rot in the closet. Shoes, everything, they dry rot. I literally had a shoe that I've never worn.
Really?
No way. Yeah, breaking apart because I did not wear it. This is a waste of money. It's a waste of money. These shoes are put together with spit at this point. Like it was just So I want to unplug a little bit from the conversation, and in our unplug moment, I have what role does maintaining your mental health play in your day-to-day life?
Honestly, one of the things that I do a lot is educate myself, because the more and not just educating, because you could be educated and if you don't put the practice in, what's the point, right? But definitely educating myself, and then be intentional in practicing what you're educating yourself in, right? Because if not, I'm just gonna fall back into that ditch and just getting in debt again, spending money here, spending money there. I'm being in debt. So so me doing those things, it keeps me level-headed. It keeps me, away from like trends. I'm not saying you can't buy a Louis bag. I'm not saying you can't buy a freaking expensive watch. I'm not saying that. Yeah. What I'm saying is that if you were to do that, like somebody I interviewed before, she said, she's bougie. If you're gonna be bougie on a budget. Yeah. Yeah. Right? There's nothing wrong with being bougie, but if you're gonna be bougie and be in debt, that's a problem. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So all those things in my life, I have to keep doing. Educate myself, put it into practice, teach others, because then I'll stay level-headed and not go too crazy with the trends. Yeah. And me, I like to buy things. You know what I'm saying? I like to buy nice clothes, the shoes, whatever. But at the end of the day, like I have to know my limit. Exactly. Like, I have to think long term. I have to think about my family, my wife and kids. Like there are times that I'd be like, I'll spend like $100 something on something that I don't really need. But I'm like, damn, that could have been that extra $130 to my savings. Yeah. That could push me a lot closer to move somewhere where I want to go. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I get sucked in with billboards everywhere. Exactly. I'm like, nah, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So all those little things, I have to keep myself on my toes so I don't fall into that ditch, which helps me with my mental health and finances. Exactly. I agree. Because I think that if I don't, I have to tell myself, don't go on Amazon today. Like I have to be that person to tell myself, have restraints, have boundaries. If I'm bored, people also buy when they're bored. Like if you have nothing to do, you're just going to be online, and then guess what? Advertisement's going to get you. You're going to start buying stuff. Yeah. So I've noticed that with me. If I'm bored, I'm on Amazon, I'm looking, and I'm adding stuff to the cart. Yeah. And then my cart gets packed. And then I'm just like, what can I get out of my cart today? And I'm just like, no, you need self-control. Go read a book. Yeah. How about you read your Bible and ask God for some strength? Like that's literally where I've come to, because I'm like, no, we have to build self-control in that area. Right. And think about it. If you're a person that wants to get married. Exactly. And do you want to bring that behavior in your marriage? That can affect it. Yeah. You may say, oh yeah, he'll still love me, or he'll have grace. Yeah, they can have grace. But if, like up to when? Yeah, exactly. If you keep spending money and you're not working together. Exactly. That could be a problem. You know what I'm saying? You're irresponsible. While the other person is trying to be responsible, but you guys, it's not working out because you're not doing your thing. So Yeah.
That's true. And then being honest with yourself too, like knowing, okay, I know that this is a struggle of mine. So I'm going to be honest with myself so that I don't keep falling in the same thing. But if you're like, no, I don't have no problem. Like, nah, I got it. And that's something too, my mom would always tell me, even if you have $2 in your bank account, it doesn't mean that you have to spend that $2.
Exactly.
Leave the $2 alone.
Exactly.
Well, first of all, what are you going to get with $2? You're going to end up you're going to end up spending more than $2. So like, why try to spend the money because you have it? There's no reason to. Yeah. Like you said, create that budget, communicate, educate yourself
on an accountability partner.
Yes, that too. Yeah, he's my accountability partner because yeah, or else I'll be buying everything.
I'm telling you.
So, what are some healthy financial habits that can positively influence mental health?
Woo, I have a whole video on this. Financial healthy habits. Definitely long term, always don't spend more than what you make. Right? If you make the mindset that people have, oh, have a raise, I make more money, spend more money.
Yeah.
No. Why would you want to spend more money so you can get more in debt?
Yeah.
Or so you can like not really want what you have.
Exactly.
Or if you do want what you have in the moment, but then later on it's going to affect you. No, spend less than what you make. Because like I said earlier, you can make, a lot of people make $100K a year, but they're still broke. Why? Because they live in an expensive house or an apartment for nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're buying all these clothes that's so expensive all the time. No, so live below your means.
Yeah.
Right? Budget. That's a big one. And I know that a lot of people don't budget for many different reasons. One reason is because they just don't know how to budget, period. They don't have a clue how to start. You know what I'm saying? How to start. Another reason is they're afraid to find out how much money they're spending each month on food, clothes, whatever the case may be, right? Another reason is it's going to control their spending habit, but don't you need that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And some people, they'll tell me, oh, but I don't like creating a budget because it's gonna control me. It's gonna control my spending habits and this and that. And I'd be like, but at the same time, you're spending all this money getting yourself in debt. You're being controlled by the actual debt now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're still being controlled regardless.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you want to spend something, cool, but put it in the budget.
Yeah.
Right? If I make a budget for the month, and let's just say for something simple, let's just say I go to the mall with no intention to buy anything, and I see this pair of shoes that was $120, but it was on sale for $80. And I asked the person, how much did you really get the shoes for? And they were like, for $80. Okay, yeah. But you didn't get it on sale. Because you didn't put it in your budget anyway, so you really pay for the full price.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
so
true.
leave that in the budget. Another reason why they are, especially if there's marriage involved, right? Maybe the other person don't want to deal with the budget, so you just don't do it either.
Yeah.
So there's different reasons why people don't budget. Another healthy habit is don't go too crazy. Go back into your bank account and see what you have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But don't go crazy looking at every single day because you don't want to be paranoid and like you can't spend a dime.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that person either. Like you can't have fun. Like, no, you can have fun. Just don't get in debt for it for no reason. Credit cards.
Yes.
When it comes to credit cards, me personally, it's an unpopular opinion. I don't like credit cards. I hate credit cards. I do have one. It's funny how I say that, but I do have one, but I hate it. Right? But I do believe that there are people that can win with credit cards. They know how to work the system. But the problem is that the majority of Americans or people in America, they don't know how to beat the system.
Yeah.
Credit card is number 3 in America of debt. 1.6 trillion, right behind student loans. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Last year in 2023, for the first time in history of America, credit card hit $1 trillion in debt. For the first time in history.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? So be careful what you're spending. If you have a credit card and you're going to use it, I always tell people, spend money on a credit card like if you have it's a debit card. Yep. Meaning, if you're going to buy a nice chair, spend that money, but make sure that you have that same exact money in your debit card so you can pay it off right away. Mm-hmm. Because if not, it's going to creep up on you, the interest. You're going to make another emergency comes, and then you have to pay that, and you don't even get to pay the chair on time, and then you get fees. It's a whole mess. Mm-hmm. So generally, I think most people in America shouldn't even have credit cards. Yeah. Because they can't even handle their own money without it. Yep. They have bad money habits. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So stay away from credit cards if you know that you're going to be in debt and not be able to pay it off on time. Another thing is accountability. Yeah. Right? Have accountability partner. And when I say accountability, I'm not talking about your spouse, your boyfriend. It can be anybody. Mm-hmm. Right? It can be a spouse, boyfriend, your friend, financial coach, somebody that can always look at your finances and see where you can be better off, or, find a side hustle. Yeah. Right? Unfortunately, we live in a day and age that you can't just work one job. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You need some type of second income. Mm-hmm. Like I'm doing, and I don't hate what I'm doing, but I don't want to be doing Uber all the time. Yeah. Waking up at 2:30 in the morning. Like I want to be sleeping and see my kids more and this and that. No, but hey,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
What I gotta do. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So all those different things you can do when it comes to healthy, spending and all that kind of stuff. I do want to bring up, though, because you mentioned earlier about Amazon and buying stuff, and I mentioned about the roots. Mm-hmm. Everybody have different roots of why they spend the way they spend. Mm-hmm. For example, I never had a good relationship with my mom. Mm-hmm. I hated her. I had so much bitterness towards her. Mm-hmm. And because of that, and I was depressed. I grew up very depressed. And because of that, my coping mechanism was different things. Sleep all the time and eat all the time. But how would I eat?
You're buying food. Yeah.
I mean, I would eat at home, but then because I didn't want to be near my mom, I would go out, eat by myself, and buy food. And I never knew where that habit came from. And even into my adult years, that I always have to eat. Yeah. And I'm always buying food, and I'm like, damn, where did that come from? Mm-hmm. It comes from that.
Oh wow.
Maybe in somebody else's story, they grew up in a family where they seen their parents fight about money. So they grew up not wanting to know anything about money, which affected them because now they don't have good money management. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they grew up in a neighborhood where, they were, low income community. Yeah. They didn't have much. Their friends always had the Jordans, and you had the freaking Filas. I mean, Filas are good anyway. But you had the Filas, all this stuff. And you grew up. Yeah. Two things can happen. One, you're going to want all those things, so you got in debt for it. Yep. Or you go the opposite. I'm like, I don't want to get in debt because I know what it feels to not have much. Yep. So I'm going to save. Yep. Or if you live in a rich family, they can go both ways too. You just want to spend. Yep. Or no, we're rich. We handle money well. That's what I've been taught. I'm going to handle my money well. Yep. So everybody has the root causes of issues of why they have bad money spending habits. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You just got to figure out which is yours.
Yeah. And it is a coping mechanism. Like people do use money or their financial habits reflect their coping mechanism. Like that is a coping thing for me too. Like it's called retail. There's a word for it. It's called retail therapy, where people literally just to feel better, they just start buying stuff. It's like, why are you buying stuff? It just makes them feel better.
Yeah, but then it's a trap.
It is
because they have to keep doing it over and over again.
Exactly.
It's like a temporary happiness. Yeah. I have a habit. I drive a lot for work. I have a habit of once I'm out of work and I have like a 45-minute to hour drive, I have a habit of stopping in one of the gas stations. And I say to myself, oh, I have to eat a sandwich and drink something while I'm driving
to go home.
Like I don't know, to like keep myself, I don't know, it's weird. But that's a bad habit because then I have to keep spending money every day. I'm like, crap, I spent $50 already on just mini little sandwiches from 7-Eleven or Wawa, whatever the case may be. Nah, bro. So all those little things you can, when it comes to healthy money habits, good to take care of.
So what is your advice for Gen Z? Because I know people been cracking on us. They say that we think that money grows on trees. I've heard that we think that we have access to so much money that we just spend money. And that Gen Z also has unrealistic expectations of what their financial life is supposed to look like currently.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna put it this way. Every generation has its pros and cons. Mm-hmm. You know, but since you're asking about Gen Z, what you're saying is true.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of them think money grows on trees. Right? They think that in their minds, you need to have, or this guy needs to have this amount of money in order for me to be with him. Like all these little things. And of course, we got the social media world. They see everything on social media. They're on TikTok. They see people buying this, buying that. Their friends, the hottest guy in the school, the most good-looking girl in the school wearing. So they want to go ahead and imitate that. They want to buy those things. If you want to buy it, buy it. But the thing is that they're not thinking long-term.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's a lot to it. So they're also getting into debt. But here's some facts I want to give you because to save you guys, right? When it comes to the average credit card debt between these generations, number one is Generation X.
Okay.
Their average credit card debt is about $9,000.
Oh, wow.
The number two is the baby boomers, which is your parents.
Yeah.
Right? I think your parents. I don't know.
Or grandparents.
Maybe. Your grandparents. Yeah. Their average debt is a little over $6,000. Third is the millennials, my people.
Oh, wow.
Right? Right a little bit under number two, baby boomers. Fourth is Generation Z, right? It's $3,000 and $200. And then the fifth one is the silent generation, which is the people that lived in the Great Depression. They're about $3,100. So
oh, wow.
Gen Z is
We're not doing
number
so bad.
4 in average credit card debt. But nevertheless, I love that they're very creative as well, though. They're very, they're outgoing. They want to do stuff, and, but at the same time, it's like, okay, but we need the boomers. We need, these people that can help you out in this area. Yeah. Because you want to move in wisdom as well. Right? And I know that a lot of people want to start businesses. That's a trend, of course. Yes. Cool. If you want to start a business, fine. But it becomes a trend that everybody wants to do it. And it's not really because they want to do it or it's because everybody else is doing it. I ask my students, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, and when talking about the area of finances, oh, I want to do real estate. But here's something that they don't know. Because they think, oh, real estate, I'm going to make money. I'm like, it doesn't work like that. I tell them, if you do real estate, you need to have a job first. Yep. You can't, unless you get lucky, right? Literally. But you can't, real estate is not like a job, a 9 to 5, and you just get paid at the end of the day or end of the week. Yeah, it's not like that. That's why you need to have a job while you're getting your licensing and doing your tests, and then you become a real estate agent. And with the hopes that in the next few years or whatever, you can make good money enough that you can quit your job. Exactly. And rely on that income. Yeah. But a lot of these young people, they don't see that. They just think, you know why? Because we have a lot of fake influencers on TikTok giving you all these crazy advice about how to get rich quick. Listen, there's no way to get rich quick. If you want to get rich quick, you got to be a crook. Yep. That's true. You know what I'm saying? That's true. But in a healthy way, in a clean way, there is no way to get rich quick unless you get lucky and you freaking get all that money from GameStop on Bitcoin or whatever the case. You know what I'm saying? I mean, ask Warren Buffett, the Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos. Yeah. Do you think they got rich in 2 years? Nope. No, it was a slow and steady, and you know what I'm saying?
They're finally touching money now.
In the billions. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what they teach. Is take your time. Yeah. Let that build up. Don't be like, oh, I'm gonna get rich quick. I'm gonna get rich in 2 years. Stop listening to those TikTokers. Because some of them probably did get rich, but that's the exception. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
So so for my Gen Z people, I love you. I mean, millennials has their own issues too, but money do not grow on trees. You got to work hard for your money, and you can't just do whatever you want. And I want to. Maybe I'm biased, but us millennials, we have it hard. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what it is to be in the Great Depression, but in my 37 years, I've experienced the 2008. Right? It was 2008. Yeah, 2008. 2008 when everything got shut down, inflation again, whatever. I remember when I was paying, at that time, I forgot how old. I don't want to do math right now. I was paying $15 to fill up my tank.
Oh my God.
And I had a Toyota Corolla. $15 to pay off you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But inflation was high. I didn't feel it because, I don't know, I guess I was young and I was just, everything's so cheaper now and certain things, whatever.
Yeah.
But I've experienced that. I've experienced all these different diseases, the Ebola, anthrax.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when Ebola was popping.
Right? 9/11.
Yeah.
Like, I remember literally, because I live in Jersey, literally across the river.
That's right.
I was in the school classroom. My best friend comes running from the bathroom. The Twin Towers were falling. And I'm watching from the window, the towers are falling. Other side of the river.
Yeah.
You know, like we've been through that. We've been through all these different wars. Freaking COVID now. And then another freaking inflation, depression, whatever you want to call. Like, we've been through so much. Like, it's just hard. And we want to get on our feet, but it's so hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have 2 kids. I have a wife. I'm telling you right now, there's no way that I'm going to be able to buy a house here in Miami.
Yeah, no.
In the next few years. Mm-hmm. That's why we're getting the heck out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, if God closes the doors because he says something else, that's fine. But as far as the planning goes, I'm going to plan it and God will direct.
Yeah. Amen.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The Bible says it in Proverbs, right? That man, how does it go? I'm paraphrasing. It says, man plans. Exactly.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Gen Zs, we got your back, but you need us.
Yeah.
You need the baby boomers. You know, we need a balance.
Yeah. And I think like Gen Z, I feel like we also have like this pride thing where we want to make it out on our own. We want to prove something to people so bad that we hush out wisdom from the older generations when we really should be seeking wisdom from them. But we're like, nah, we gotta, you know, hustle. And there's like this thing where it's like, if someone like you know, an older generation says that you can't do something, it's like, oh well, that's the foundation of my success and this and that. Like, you know, everyone has to hear a no at some point. They think that the older generation is their enemy, but it's like no, they're giving you a warning because they've gone through so much. Like you literally just painted the picture. That is a lot. There's a lot of knowledge that like millennials have that they can give access to Gen Z. So they foresee things before we can even see it.
Like because of experience.
Exactly.
And then on the flip side, the older generation, they have to allow you guys to be creative and do things a little bit different than they did.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Still work hard.
Yes.
But it doesn't have to be exactly like you guys did.
Yeah.
As long as you work hard and you're doing things the legal way.
Exactly.
That's all it matters, right? Creativity is different for everybody.
It is.
We don't have to stick to an old-fashioned way of a mindset of how to build a business. I mean, everything is digital now, you know, so again, we all need to come together. It's a balance, right? Because I'm not gonna be like you Gen Z, this and that, but millennials has a lot of stuff too. You know what I'm saying? We have so much debt. You know what I'm saying? People don't even know what to do with that money. Yeah. And then if you're from the Caribbean, that's a hard thing. Money's a taboo. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Yep. You weren't really taught about it. I wasn't taught about it. That affected us, you know, and probably still affecting you. Or, you know what I'm saying? And this is the thing though. We have the resources today. Yeah. We're into. It's a good and bad. We have too many resources. Yeah. And we can get scammed by so many of those. Yep. But then there are also a lot of good ones. We just have to do a due diligence and research and talk to the right people. Yep. But people are desperate. And they get scams. Yep. I don't get scammed, but I get scam calls all the time, texts all the time. Like, bro, sometimes I go with the flow because I want to play the game, but it's annoying. Like, don't fall for it. But people get so desperate because they need the money and boom, they get robbed. And they get in debt for that. Yeah, because they have to pay it back. Exactly. Oh, my goodness. It's a lot. It's like a cycle or just an ongoing cycle. Yeah, but the sources are there. Yeah. But the problem is that people are not being intentional and trying to find out how to be better. You know what I'm saying? Take a financial course, like I said, a simple one. You don't have to go deep into it. Just something simple. Learn how to invest. Learn, you know, what does it mean to budget, credit card, the rewards, the interest, because they're not going to tell you that. Yeah. Like if you go to the mall during December, the JCPenney, $50 off your next purchase, or $50 off of your next purchase if you apply for this credit card. Yep. Cool. But they ain't telling you that it's 28% interest rate. Which is 28 is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, no. Oh my goodness. So all those things we need to look at. Yeah. But
read between the lines.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'm really thankful for. The one thing that my mom did do, she was like, don't just sign up for anything. Ask them the pros and the cons of everything, and then read that contract for yourself, because they're not going to read you the fine lines.
Exactly.
They want to get you to sign up for it. Like you said, they're not going to tell you, oh yeah, sign up for this credit card, but the interest is 28%. So I don't know. They're not going to tell you that. It's like, no, sign up for it. And they tell you all the good things about it. Oh, you'll get points back when you purchase at JCPenney.
Yeah, but you know how much money you got to get?
Yes.
To get those points, to get a freaking t-shirt?
Thank you.
To get a t-shirt? Why would I want a t-shirt? For all these hundreds of dollars that I'm spending.
Literally. And it's the same thing even with regular credit cards. I remember my first credit card was with Chase, and they said, if you spend $1,000, we're going to give you $500.
Oh, man.
I did spend $1,000. I redesigned my entire room because I was like, what? I'm going to get $500 back? But the one area that I was smart in, I took that $500 and I put it right back on the credit card. So I ended up only having to pay $500.
Yeah.
But most people would think, oh, it's free money. And then they're just going to run with the $500 and you still owe $1,000. Yep. So you just have to, that's how I played the system. And then also too, like as long as I've had credit cards, I haven't signed up for a credit card that didn't have like a promotion of like 0% interest. So once the 12 months was over, I'm like, Caleb, cut the credit card. You can't use this no more. Because I know. You
gotta be careful with those because that's how they get you too. Oh, you 6 months, zero interest. You know, you're good. But a lot of times, people that get that, they still fail. Yeah. You know why? Because other stuff comes in the way, an emergency, or they forget about it and they get carried away and they just start spending money, and then 6 months come, they haven't paid the whole thing off and they got 30%.
Yep, because that percentage is high. It's like 0% to like 30. Yeah, it's a high percentage of the actual interest. So that promotion period is literally just for that promotion period. So you have to be on top of it. Like, okay, no, I'm going to make sure I pay it off while it's 0%. Yeah.
They know what they're doing. They get the young people the most. Those that are going to college. Yeah. Because they know they're not going to pay it. Yeah. They can't. Yeah. They don't have the money. That's why college people are always broke. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So they get a credit card and then you just
get us good. They get us good. They're like plotting. Yeah. Oh man. It sounds like Satan just out here plotting, seeking to destroy us. But I appreciate.
And as God's people, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
As God's people, listen. If unbelievers can be wealthy, and if unbelievers can have businesses, if unbelievers can do well with their money, how much more can? You know, as believers, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're in the churches, tithing, this and that. Yep. And some of us probably can't or don't even tithe because we just don't have money. That's why I'm very big on, like, educating yourself. Churches need to be more. I think churches need to do more of courses on finances to teach people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand that the Bible does say that you know, we need to give our tithes and offering. And, you know, pastors, whatever, they'll preach it. But at the same time, I think to balance it out, you should have a course to teach people how to handle their money. Now, if they handle their money well or not, that's on them. Exactly. But at least you're giving them the tools. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't know anything in the church. And that's why we're so broke. But then you have all these unbelievers being blessed in that area, and we're struggling. We're making them richer.
Literally. That's right. If the church gave the congregation more tools, we'd be a lot more healthy holistically, literally, even physical, like nutrition. We don't talk about nutrition in church, which I think we should. Our body is a temple. Literally.
That's why a lot of pastors are fat.
Because we don't talk about it. Like, we need to talk about it. Like, the Bible says our body's a temple. So if our body's a temple, we should eat good things so that our body can remain holy and pure. But we don't talk about that. It's so many things we don't talk about. We talk about everything else.
Except for gluttony.
Yeah. We talk about that. They do. They touch a little bit on it. But it's like, let's go deeper. Yeah. Teach us how to live a holistic life.
Holistic, yes.
And if we have that knowledge, the people of the church will do much better. We'll thrive. Overall, we will thrive. We probably would thrive, even better than people of the world. Because again, we have God on our side and we're reading from the word and allowing for God to use it and to literally make us whole and make us like fill in. Because like you said, like, God is going to show up in the most like craziest times. So we know that about God. He's going to show up. He's going to show up. He is faithful. He's consistent. And so what more is his consistency if we also, do our part in teaching his people, providing knowledge. And the Bible says it's like the people, they perish because of lack of knowledge. So we know that. So like, let's teach everyone about everything, about mental health, about disease, about these things. Like, don't just, teach the regular. Like, these things matter too. Because if I'm stressed out, my spiritual life is going to be stressed out too.
Of course.
I find that I pray less when I'm stressed out because I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is on my mind constantly. Like prayers, like, unfortunately it's like, man, like it's on the bottom of my list because I'm thinking about so many other things when it should be the other way around. Yeah. But if we're taught that, I'm sure prayer can now be that first thing where we're constantly going to God with it because we're being taught about it in church. But I feel like that might also play a role into it. Why we're not even able to go to God about it if we're not talking about it in church. So maybe in our minds, we might condition ourselves to think, maybe this doesn't matter to God, but it does because he'll show up for you. So if he'll show up for you, it matters to him.
Right.
So
that's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate you coming. Thank you so much, Emmanuel. We're definitely going to have you back because we want to touch base on the human trafficking and give awareness because that
topic is a big
one. That one I'm excited for.
Well, I'm looking forward to that because I have a lot of information on that.
I'm ready to pick your mind because I am so like, what? I used to watch Law and Order growing up. I was like super like into, I knew people were crazy. So I need to know what to look out for, men and women, because people think it's just women, but it's men too. So I'm excited.
We'll get there. We'll talk about those.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Of course, fun. Let the people know where they can follow you and find your YouTube.
Sure. I have multiple platforms. As far as my YouTube channel, it's Ovalle, which is my last name, Ovalle, and then Inspiración, which is inspiration, but in Spanish.
Ah, nice.
That's also my Instagram page on the financial side. My personal page is Imago Day _ I forgot my Instagram. That's crazy. Just follow Ovalle Inspiración and it'll link you to that one. And then my TikTok, which I've been talking lately a lot about human trafficking, is Unity in Trinity. So you'll find me there as well. And I like to talk about different topics, not just one.
Exactly.
But human trafficking has been one that I just been focusing a little heavier lately. So stay tuned for that.
And God is using you to literally bring awareness to that because, man, God knows people need that knowledge.
For real.
Because we literally are just blindlessly walking and not realizing this can happen at any point to any of us, literally.
Sure.
Oh man, thank you again. Don't forget to follow me guys at KXY Renee. Don't forget to follow The Outlet Talk on Instagram and I'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Peace.
This is The Outlet Talk, created by yours truly, picture and sound by Dre, music by Louis Amar.